Hey, thanks for being with us. It's a special conversation with WV Vice President and Athletic Director Wren Baker. It's brought to us by Diversified Energy, the official energy partner of WVU Athletics. We chat after the Ross Hodge press conference. And obviously, from your perspective, you have got to feel a tremendous sense of relief that the process has come to at least the point where you have a head basketball coach on the job.
That's exactly right. Those processes, it's fast on both sides. It's a big decision for an athletic director, and you got a lot of data coming to you, a lot of opinions coming to you. You're having conversations. You're trying to do background checks on multiple candidates, looking at a lot of data. But it's fast on the coach's part too. I mean, from the time you make initial contact till the time that they make a life-changing decision, maybe a week. And so, that's a fast kind of courtship. But I'm really excited to get Coach Hodge here. I think from a basketball standpoint, what he is good at, what he's built teams on, the hallmark of his program meshes well with our identity and what we've been when we've been really good. And also from a personal standpoint, I think people got to see a chance today in the press conference to see why our committee felt like he was such a great fit.
Yeah. The story about his mom and the fact that she had 3 jobs as he was growing up, I think probably speaks volumes about his background and what he's about.
Yeah. I was raised by a single mother too, and so just sitting up there, I was glad I already made my remarks because it was an emotional, I think, moment for anybody who's had a parent who sacrificed and helped you get to where you are, and how that's such a part of who you are. And so it's definitely a part of who he is. And I alluded to in my comments in the press conference just the places that he's worked. I love people who've been highly successful at multiple stops, particularly tough places. And I just believe there's a formula there that if you've had consistent success, that it translates. And so I think for all those reasons, he made a ton of sense. And I think people today got a chance to see that.
Let's pick up on that theme, because you also said in your comments that you called Grant McCaslin, the Texas Tech coach, and he offered before you even said anything, right? Ross is the guy. And the same thing with Dusty May. He said he's ready. What does he's ready mean in your view? As you take this next step up from the mid-major to the Power 4 level. What changes? What do you have to be ready for?
Yeah, I think you recruit at a higher level, so you compete against in your conference a higher level of player. There are great coaches at every level. There's great high school coaches, junior high coaches, but you're going to see a consistently higher level of staff because they have more coaches, so their advanced scouting is different, and all of those things. When you have more bodies, you're able to access and do more stuff. And so I think from that standpoint, from the pressure standpoint, there's more. I've done media at North Texas. There's maybe 2 or 3 guys on a good day. We had a room full of media today. And but he handled it very well, and got a couple of questions that weren't softball questions and handled those well. And so that's something that there's a certain amount of maturity that goes into being prepared for something like that. And I think that's what they alluded to. Schematically, he's a great basketball coach. Recruiting wise, he knows how to identify and get very talented players. And then just the moment. Sometimes, you get to certain places. I tell young administrators all the time, sometimes the worst thing you can do is get a job before you're ready. The moment's too big for you. And so, I think for him, what they were saying is the moment's not too big for him. Like he's ready. And there were a lot of other coaches that pretty much said the same thing.
You do a copious detailed breakdown on the analytics of your potential. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have a spreadsheet that Excel would be proud of. So what was it, besides your pre-existing relationship with him, from an analytics standpoint, that lit your bulb and said, yes?
Well, he talked about today, it is the defensive side of the ball. And yes, we want to make sure that we're good offensively and all of that stuff. But if you look at the Big 12, look right now, who are the best 3 teams? Well, certainly Houston's the best, and then I think Texas Tech and Iowa State were right there. those three teams are elite defensive teams. They hang their hat on defense. Now, all three of them were better offensively this year than they historically have been because they had some really good offensive players. And that's what people don't understand. You know, when you look at pace of play, for instance, Texas Tech's pace of play this year was much faster than it's been in previous years. But if you talk to Grant McCaslin, he is running the exact same offense. He just has better players, and it doesn't take him as long to get a shot that would be a good shot. He lets them shoot more threes in transition because he has better shooters, for instance. And so, but if you want to be successful, it really starts on the defensive end. That is the thing, night in and night out, that can consistently be there for you. Your shots are not always going to fall, you know, and so I think that was analytically what really stuck out when you compared him with other candidates. It was the full body of work of the defenses, not just him as a head coach, but if you go back and look at when he was coordinating Grant's defense at North Texas, for 6-7 years, they've been one of the best defensive teams in the country.
You know, we often talk about the dollars that it takes to run programs, and that certainly is changing literally on a day-to-day moment with the House settlement coming up, the expectation that it will be settled. Is West Virginia positioned financially to go out to the market now and get the type of players you need to be a upper-tier team in the league?
Yeah, well, you know, you have what will be the House settlement in the future with a rev share that I know we'll be prepared for then. But in this interim period, the regulations of the House don't start until July 1. So you can do some kind of front loading and really cap circumvention in this interim period. And so that's an unregulated, and so like there's a big numbers being thrown around out there. But we are prepared to dance in those waters, to swim in those waters. And you know, I think we're not going to be one of the 8 to 10 biggest spenders, but are we prepared to be in the top half of the Big 12? We are, and you know, I say this all the time. If we can resource our teams in the top half of the Big 12, then I think we have a really good chance to be competitive. We've shown that. I just left a board presentation, and one of the things in there was what we get out of our sports relative to what we spend. And it was us and Kansas State are the best per capita expense performers in the Big 12. And you know, I think that for men's basketball, we're going to be resourced at a place where we can be highly competitive. Yeah.
Well, good for you. You can finally take a deep breath here now and just watch.
You always say that, and then you jinx us.
Fingers are crossed that I think
we'll be caravanning here before long.
I know, the month of May, and Coach Hodge will be out there. Coach Rod will be out there as well. We're bouncing around a good bit in the month of May, so we encourage people. It's their great opportunity to come out, literally, you know, talk to these coaches.
It is, and I just want to say to all of our fans, I know that it's been a crazy couple of weeks being left out of the tournament, and then, you know, having a coach leave, but the future is very bright, and it's bright because of you. And we're so grateful and thankful. Every time we go to look for a coach, every time we go to recruit somebody, the passion of our fan base is always a key talking point. And so thank you for everything that you do at home, Mountaineer Nation.
Absolutely. Vice President and Athletic Director Wren Baker. That'll do it for us. Our special conversation brought to us by Diversified Energy, the official energy partner of WVU Athletics.